And welcome to the Breakfast Blend with Mac and Morgan. I'm Mac.
And I'm Morgan.
Where we discuss games, news, and occasionally coffee.
Occasionally.
We did not have a Wednesday edition this week. Morgan's had an illness in the family and had doctor's appointments, so we filled in with the new Character Select video. There will likely be more of those if neither one of us goes absolutely fucking crazy in the meantime and has a breakdown. So, in this week's news, Xbox Live debuts a new app that allows you to place an order with Pizza Hut through your system. Silver accounts rumored to only have access to personal pan pizzas. We have more. I'm not done with this one. Drivers do not accept Microsoft points as tips. Okay, make sure you know what you want because your order will be automatically renewed without your consent for the next 2 years. We're not done. In related news, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation recently became the single largest shareholder in the leading replacement heart valve provider. Next, Mad Catz has announced new grease-resistant controllers and noise-canceling headphones specifically tuned to prevent you from hearing the sound of your own tears as your future slides inexorably into obesity and despair. And, hold on, the app comes with an upgrade for the Kinect that will enable the device to order a pizza automatically if it detects you are making a specific hand gesture or developing a sense of ambition and self-esteem. Next, Chris Roberts, the creator of Wing Commander and recipient of nearly $10 million through a Kickstarter campaign for his next game, has opened new offices in Santa Monica. In a market where many established developers are tightening the purse strings, Mr. Roberts has decided to open a fourth office for a company that has yet to produce a single game. When asked to comment, Mr. Roberts assured us that it was not a justification for a private jet he may or may not have recently purchased, nor did he intend to keep homes in each city for girlfriends or a second wife, named Mary, with 3 children, who drives a silver Prius.
Oops.
Insomniac Games announced that a movie based on the Ratchet & Clank property will be in theaters in 2015. Both the gaming community and children throughout the world simultaneously failed to give a shit. Artists' salaries are on the decrease. When asked to comment, a well-known game artist said, quote, "Look, man, you want the pizza or not?" Nintendo president Satoru Iwata issued a statement explaining that the Wii U has failed to meet sales expectations for several reasons, excuse me, the largest of which is that Nintendo's marketing failed to describe the unique features of the system. The fact that every game for the Wii U was available on other systems over a year ago was not mentioned as a possible cause. And finally, in preparation for the upcoming next generation of consoles, EA has fired a significant number of employees. According to the company, terminations were not due to poor performance on the employees' part, but rather that EA had already sucked all the life essence possible from those team members. Okay, so first piece of news, Xbox Live and Pizza Hut mashup.
Come on.
That was inevitable, let's be honest.
It's ridiculous.
It's what I don't like, and I know we made a joke about it, what I don't like is that you have a card attached to this. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, or maybe I don't. I haven't downloaded it. One, because I fucking hate Pizza Hut. I like their pizza. I hate Pizza Hut. I hate the place. They specifically don't tell you what the physical sizes are of their pizzas. You can't find that on their website. Right now, I dare anybody to go onto a Pizza Hut website and locate an indicator of the physical size of any of their pizzas. Their large is a 12-inch pizza. That's like a small in most places. Right. At best, a medium. But beyond that, beyond the fact that they overcharge, what I don't care for is I doubt that this app applies for parental controls.
Oh, I highly doubt it. It's going to be 10-year-olds ordering pizzas for their stupid friends down the road.
I mean, seriously.
Let's have 100 pizzas delivered to so-and-so and...
Imagine I have not made use of the parental controls. I hope that there is a way to block certain apps. Because otherwise, you are literally going to get, if the kid decides to, just like, oh, suddenly he has some friends over. Like, it's like the worst, geekiest version of House Party ever. It's just a bunch of kids playing Black Ops, and suddenly 300 pizzas show up. That's their big party. Yeah. Parents are away, and the way they disobey is ordering pizza. I still think it's a neat idea. Like, it is kind of cool. Let's be honest. You're sitting there, you just place the order, and it shows up. That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
But again,
but what does it take to pick up your phone? I talk on the phone while I'm playing a game all the time.
Right.
Well,
and if it's really that hard to put down a controller, you know, and on top of it, you're not playing the game while you do it. Mm-hmm. So you do have to stop. You have to load the app. And in my extensive experience on the Xbox, loading apps does not suffer from brevity, let's say. Okay. So by the time you get through all this, you could have been online on your computer having ordered it, or just made the fucking call. Mm-hmm. But people are so terrified. Like, I know. Like, even my wife does not care for making the phone call. So, can you call him? Like,
mine does the same thing. Call and order that. No, why don't you do it?
Don't you? You want the food? Yeah. Was it your idea? Yeah. Maybe you should call him.
The phone is in your hand already.
Yeah. Yeah, they're handing it to you. Yeah. I love that one. Hey, here's the phone and my order written down. Can you order this? Oh my God. She made me do it once. If we ordered Chinese, she made me do it in the car. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, you know, then you can place your order. I'm like, do you know what you want and all that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, then you Like, I can't scroll through the menu clearly to find what I want. Maybe you should handle this for me. Please? All right, you have sex with me. That's fine.
That'll do.
So, the Chris Roberts, I don't know what your familiarity is with this individual. He was behind Wing Commander, which was pretty cool at the time. It was like a space simulator. You got into a ship, and, you know, it was back in the day when they would obscure almost all of the screen with your heads up shit, because that made it run faster, not having to render all that shit. But anyway, I have a couple of the Wing Commanders because they came in compilation packs of other things. It was okay. At one point, though, I think it was maybe 4, Wing Commander 4, maybe it was 3. I can't even remember, dude. But he started going all FMV. And he had like Mark Hamill in there, and he was like, that was supposed to be the next big thing, was like there would be all this real live shit in your games. But this guy has a history of thinking way bigger than he can handle. Mm-hmm. So he's like, oh, we're going to do all this F&B, and he wanted to become a fucking director. He went and made it. Okay, so let me get to my real point, is that he raised $10 million in a Kickstarter. It was 2 different Kickstarters, and it wasn't really 10. It was like 6.5 and 2.5 or something like that. Close enough. He, with the promise that he would make yet another game. He made the Wing Commanders. Then he left, tried to make movies, failed. Then he came back, and then he made Star Lancer, which was Wing Commander, basically. I mean, the same concept. It was a different reality, but it's still the same thing. You're in ships, you go into space, and you trade, and you do all that shit, and blah, blah, blah. It's the space sim genre. Then he tried to make another game, Freelancer, which finally came out. And all of his games took forever to fucking make. And in between, he kept changing his job description in there. And
is it the same type of game?
Yeah,
space.
Once again, bullshit. Space. And I will say, I like the concept, but it's just a little too involved. And it's like all the controls you have to worry about, and so forth and so on. And I'm just, I don't know, using the keyboard and whatnot to control my ship in space has never really worked for me. You know, if I'm flying a ship, I want, you know, a stick.
Yeah,
you know,
controls.
I want a stick, and I want a throttle control, and so anyway, he continually either fails at his projects or takes so fucking long that it's amazing that they happen. So now he gets $10 million, hasn't made the game yet, and he has opened 4 fucking offices. There are people making games in garages,
right?
And this fucker thinks not like in an industrial complex. We're talking fucking Austin, Montreal, San Diego or Santa Monica, and I think either San Diego or LA or something like that. They're all over the fucking planet. Like, dude, just get the game done.
Yeah.
Stop.
So he's spending all the money on
and
travel.
He's like, I like the what did he say? Something to the effect of, I like the what this brings to the table, essentially, that everybody's working on something different, so that, and they have a different perspective. I'm like, really? Do you think that guy would have had a different perspective if he was in the office next to you, too? Because I'm pretty sure he would.
He likes to make himself feel important by having many offices.
Seriously.
Where he can walk in and be the...
And that's true. I think that speaks to his mindset, because he desperately wanted to be a Hollywood film director.
Mm-hmm.
And that project failed. And then he kept trying to incorporate that element into his games, and that was the weakest aspect of the games. I mean, I love Mark Hamill and all, but, I don't really need to watch him acting on a fucking green screen in order for me to play a game.
Right.
So, Insomniac Games announced that they're going to have a movie made about Ratchet and Clank. I don't even care. Okay,
come on, let's talk about this. I love the Ratchet and Clank games.
Really?
I've been playing them for a while now.
I will admit, they are good.
I played some on the PS2.
They are like the best version of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I did enjoy the first one and the second one. I didn't beat the second one. I beat the first one. But the problem is, I have no idea what the order is, because they don't numerically name them. So they all,
I don't even know the names.
Right, and they're all like cheeky British euphemisms, like up your arsenal and shit like that. Going commando, you know what I mean? So again, though, it's just, it's just not my thing, really.
Right.
I like the games, but I only need to do it once or twice, and I'm done. It's because that's really, every game is just really the same shit. I did try the one that was like essentially just, I don't even think it was supposed to be a single player game. It was like a battle arena. So you just like had a hub world, and you would go into this arena and fight shit off, and like you were trapped there.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I think that was supposed to be more co-op than single player. But I hate playing co-op games. It's just, it doesn't work for me. Split screen shit and whatnot, or alternatively they force you to be on the same screen. And honestly, I don't like having to wait for someone else to figure out what it is that I want to do. So anyway, regardless, I know they clearly wanted this from the beginning. The character designs and the production values,
right?
It was all intended to be basically a movie. Not in that sense, but like they clearly wanted you to feel like you were actively controlling some kind of cinematic experience,
right?
And with the platforming thrown in, and it was good, but I don't need to watch it. I never found them that funny.
I think it's going to be a great kids movie.
It'll probably work for kids
that adults can relate to, because we've, this has been part of our life for.
That's true. Like at least we won't. It's not like going to see the fucking Wiggles in concert or some shit.
Right. At least we're going to know who these.
At the very least, we will understand. Like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
But 2015, come on, that's ridiculous.
That is a long. Well, I'm assuming that it's CG.
Yeah, but they've known about this for years, like you said.
Yeah.
So
maybe
another 2 years.
Maybe it finally occurred to them to go with the Chris Roberts version of crowdsourcing it.
All right, we can move on now.
The artist salaries are on the decrease. Oh man, this is a scary idea. I read a very good piece, and I really wish I could recall who it was that wrote it, but it was reposted in Gama Sutra. I don't know. I think Gama Sutra. Anyway, they said that in the industry, the salaries of artists have maintained, which is, when adjusting for cost of living and inflation, is actually a decrease. Whereas all the other jobs in the gaming industry have continued to rise in, I don't want to say a meteoric fashion, but they definitely have been. You get a better starting salary, and there's more upward mobility. Right. Basically, it seems like artists basically show up, entry level, they do it for a while, and then they move on to some other project. There are no long-term, big-name artists anymore because they can't support it. And what I didn't know, and it was interesting to learn, the big reason for it appears to be that there were no artists before. And I kind of remember that when I was, we were in like high school. Like if you wanted to make art for a game, like the CG shit, or a 3D model, like you needed giant fucking workstations.
Yeah.
Remember hearing like the SGI workstation? Like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like I imagine some weird Borg like tower that you would have to stand at with like a keyboard that just slid out on hydraulics,
in a lab coat,
and you would exactly. And there's like 3 screens set up, and like only one guy in the whole place knew how to work it, and you had to be really careful because you didn't want to piss it off because it would destroy you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what when I heard SGI workstations, that's what came into my head, and apparently I wasn't far off, and the things were ridiculously difficult to use and make. To generate any kind of product well. But now we have the McDegree thing going on where everybody just pumps out, like there's too many institutions now that literally are just giving you a degree just for your money.
Right.
Like, they don't give a shit if you learn anything. They're not trying to teach you anything. So if you come out of it with something, it's only because you took something rather than actually being forced to learn, which you shouldn't have to force anybody to learn, but you see my point. So now there is this huge surge of kids who wanted to be artists, and they all have, like, generally comparable skill sets, and now they don't need to pay for big-time artists. Like, okay, instead of 5 guys that are all great and we got to pick one of them, we now have 150, and they're all kind of okay, but we'll just take the one that we like the most. Yeah. And maybe he'll get better,
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But that's really sad, because that is not an easy thing. I mean, I've tried it. I can't draw for shit. I have a lot of respect for that. Like, I see oh my God, dude, when you see some of that, like, art that they put up for marketing, you see these, like, one of my favorites was Double Fine's Brutal Legend, and it was, like, a video game based on a heavy metal alternate reality. Oh my God. I loved playing that game just because I wanted to fucking be there. I just wanted to be in that reality and deal with those people. It was tremendous. And I remember seeing, like, the concept sketches and shit. I'm like, how do people come up with that? That is amazing. I have much respect for that. I also have a lot of respect for coders, but I hate that. I would much rather try to learn how to draw something than try to fucking
code all that bullshit.
Oh. So anyway, moving along. The Nintendo president, Satoru Iwata. So this guy, he... I don't know. He didn't even say this. This was a prepared statement. But Nintendo's basically trying to say, hey, people just didn't know how awesome this was. I will give them credit. I will say that at least there is some truth in the statement. That it is confusing. If someone were to walk in right now and look at Wii or Wii U, if your parents went in, not our parents, but normal parents... in our age bracket, went in, they're not going to know unless the kid tells them, because it literally looks like it's just another Wii that has a special controller.
Yeah.
Like, you don't call it Wii U. First of all, what? It's the new Wii University? This is where you go to learn about pissing or what? I don't even understand why you would give it a fucking numeral. Or, like, Super Wii, which... That's terrible. But you get my concept, right?
Yeah.
They that occurred to them with the Nintendo 64. Like, oh, well, let's make sure everybody knows that it's 64 bits. And then they went to GameCube, not Nintendo 64S.
Because it was a cube.
Right, that's true, too. God, that was so weird. I mean, seriously.
Flop.
I remember, I have it. I bought it more than once, in fact. And because it became so cheap, I literally was able to pick up one for $50.
Yeah.
And I needed one on this base. Because I wanted all because I wanted to play. That's how ridiculous it was. It was so cheap that it was easier to just buy another one and get a used copy of this Star Wars game that I was not very good. It ended up being just such a waste. But anyway, I remember when I first got the GameCube, like pulling out and going, "What the fuck? Like, I don't even want this in my house because it looks like a toy." Like, I get the marketing push, but I really was like, seriously? And how much are you really going to fit on this disc?
Right.
Those little tiny things. But the Wii U is backwards compatible, which is definitely a step ahead of all of their competitors.
Yeah.
That bullshit pisses me off. But name your fucking console something different, especially when you have such a fucking wacky and unique name like Wii. I mean, is it any different really, though? I mean, I know it's more powerful, and yeah, you get to use a controller. I'm not going to buy one. I'm sorry.
But it's useless. I'm not. With the screen on it and everything, what are you going to look at? Are you going to look at the TV? Are you going to look at the screen? Is it going... I've never...
I will say, I liked... Was it the Zombie U? I think maybe that game that I read that when you went into your backpack, your inventory, it would actually switch to the controller.
Oh, I see.
So you go through there. But on screen, what would happen is the screen would change. Like you were, instead of having all your heads up and whatnot, it became like the way for you to like glance around to see if any zombies were coming. That's kind of cool. That is an interesting implementation. And then I believe in some games they use it like a scanner, so you can look at, you hold it up in front of your face between you and the TV, and you use it to check areas of the TV to see, you know, like hidden shit. Again, an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Problem is, it's a fucking tablet, basically, and it has roughly 3 hours of battery life. And you get one controller with the system. And there is no purpose for a second controller at this point.
Right.
And you can't even buy them separately. So I can only play a game for 3 hours. Now, I'm not saying that's
by yourself.
Right. I'm not saying that's not enough time, but what about if I play it for an hour change, then something happens, I got to go, and then the next day I come back, well, now I only have an hour. And you can't just keep recharging because, you know, that kills the battery memory. It's just asinine. I should be able to just plug the damn thing in and go.
Right.
Anyway, that's not really the problem with the Wii U. The problem is there's nothing on it to fucking play. There's nothing. Everything they're all Wii U versions of games we already have. You know, and the only thing that I would even consider, I wouldn't buy it for it, but I would consider playing it, is the Lego City Undercover, just Grand Theft Auto with Lego.
Yeah.
Which apparently had the most atrocious loading times. I saw someone put up a video of it, and it was literally over a minute of just sitting at the... And so apparently, though, since this is a new show, I'll say that they just Nintendo just released a firmware update for the Wii U that apparently has drastically reduced loading times, which really makes you wonder, if you could have done that, maybe you should have been thinking about that before release.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we got to get it out. So that's literally... I mean, okay, I should mention that on Xbox Live there are some things... we mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, Poker Night 2 at the inventory. It is now out on Xbox Live and Steam. On Xbox Live, it gets you avatar items and such if you win in certain ways or beat certain people. It's the same concept as the original Poker Night. When someone runs out of money, one of the players on screen, they fork over as collateral an item. And then if you beat them, you get the item. It's apparently hilarious, and I would like to try it, but in the end, it's still just poker, man. And I love these characters. I'm very excited about these characters. I want to hear this shit. And I hear people saying that it is the best... no one has ever made the player feel like they're part of the game quite as well. That I find intriguing. Also, every one of those characters, I want to hear them talk. I love Brock Sampson. I love Claptrap. Sam from Sam and Max, I can take or leave. I like Ash, but it's not really Bruce Campbell, so I know I'll just spend the whole time just...
wishing it was.
Just wincing at the attempt to sound like Bruce Campbell. But it does have GLaDOS from Portal, and that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, but I don't think I want to cough up $10 because that's what it costs, and I don't think I want to do $10 just for a poker game that I'm probably not going to play very often. I mean, shit,
Right.
I have the whole Walking Dead series still sitting on my 360, waiting for me, that I just can't seem to find the time. And if that awesome piece of work I have not been able to get to, there's not a whole lot of hope for me to do the poker.
Right.
Okay, I'm done with the news. Do you have anything on PSN?
PSN right now. Well, first I want to mention on the last episode I mentioned Joe Danger.
Yeah.
Was the free game. Okay, so I downloaded this game, if that's what you want to call it.
Evel Knievel.
Oh my! It was fucking awful.
Really?
Yes.
You hated it?
It was terrible. I deleted it.
Wow.
The next day, I played it for 10 minutes.
Do you feel that you really got a feel for it then?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't see it getting any better. The levels lasted less than a minute. You know, you hold down R2 the whole time.
To, like, for gas or something?
Yeah, and then you hit square to jump. And that's basically it.
So what is it? Great? Can you manipulate after the jump, what you do and whatnot.
Yeah, you could do tricks in the air. And
So it's all
that
about
crap.
tallying up points for doing
Points
tricks.
and coins, yes.
Yeah, that's never my thing.
Oh.
I don't like it. Like Trials HD was is the motocross version of that. People love it. That's not my thing. And
For a
clearly
free
not
game,
yours.
for a free game, I give it a shot.
Right.
I won't do that again.
You're still going to try free games.
I'm going to try free games, yeah, and I'll talk about them. But this one, don't bother.
Well, that's
Don't bother.
don't bother on Joe Danger. Wow, I did not expect that. I honestly thought that you would come back with wow, this is really fucking cool.
It looked kind of cool, just a time killer kind of. No,
Nothing.
waste of time.
Okay.
PSN deals. If you like Resident Evil, it's all there. Every bit of it.
Like we're talking back to the original.
The PS1 classic, the director's cut, is
Are you
on there.
shitting me?
$3.49.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still have that. I have not the director's cut. I have the original Resident Evil in the ancient giant PlayStation box downstairs. I had it and I sold it because I never wanted to play it again. After I beat it, I had no interest. That was back in the time when I was always about the fighting games because they didn't end.
Yeah.
And this is a game that ended, and I'm like, shit, I better sell it now while it's still worth something. And then, like 2 or 3 years later, I saw it again. I was like, and I got the director's cut, but it was in a jewel case. And I kind of liked the big boxes. I thought that was fun, so I actually tracked down the original Resident Evil again. And now the side's peeling off. It was a really shitty job they did on those boxes. Not an entertaining game now.
I have no interest in it, really.
We'll get into that at another point. I actually have I lied. I have a news piece that I'll add that you reminded me of because of Resident Evil. Please continue.
There is a time trial on there that's interesting on the PSN. Blazing Angels Secret Mission of World War II.
Is this a flying game?
A flying game. I'm going to give it a shot to see what it's like.
Is it? Do you know? Is it a top-down shooter kind of thing, or is it
I don't
like
know.
you don't know?
Mm-mm.
I actually don't know anything about that.
It looked pretty cool. I mean, the art and everything. I haven't watched any videos on it or anything yet, but
So that's going to be your update on the next
I'm
show.
going to give it a shot. Yeah.
Give you something to do this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have some beers and play some World War II shooter.
It's a full-time trial. So if you could play the whole game within an hour, you don't have to buy it. So
That's interesting. Okay, so that's what that means then. The time trial it's just the game, and however much you can get done in the set time, you can get done.
that's what you can get done. And then if you decide to purchase the game, it's already downloaded. They just unlock the rest of the game.
No shit.
Yeah.
I am amazed that people have not found a way to hack that.
So it's going to take me like an hour and a half to download this trial,
to play it for an hour.
to play it for an hour, and not buy it.
That's an interesting idea, though. That's a great marketing ploy.
There was another one that I played that was like that. I played the time trial, and then I bought it.
That is a very different. I did
And
not
it took
realize
like
that.
2 seconds to download the rest of it once I
I
the game.
honestly thought that the time trial was just their goofy way of saying a demo and trying
Mm-hmm.
to seem like we're different. We don't give you demos, we give you time trials.
yeah.
But that is different, actually. I like that concept because if you do like it, you already have it now.
Right.
And then if you buy it, you don't have to worry about it.
No, it's there.
On the other side of that, though, is downloading like a demo. Though is only a couple hundred megabytes usually, maybe a gig, and that will occur much faster than you would know. But then you don't have it, so you have to still go out and buy it. 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I guess. What else you got?
That's it.
Okay, I want to say on the Resident Evil thing, the creator of the Resident Evil, is it Shinji Mikami? I don't know. The guy who originally conceptualized Resident Evil for Capcom, he got together with someone else, and they announced this week that they're going to make a horror game. Because according to them, no one makes horror games now.
No?
No one makes
Nobody?
no one makes survival horror games. They only make action horror games.
That's weird.
Which is funny coming from this guy because his Resident Evil became an action horror game.
Yeah.
And they also made Devil May Cry, which was an action version of Resident Evil, and then they changed it to the Devil May Cry franchise. First, he's wrong. There are
Yeah.
survival horror games. There's like Slender Man. There's a couple of those, and the most recent one was actually pretty decent. I saw a demo of another scary game that looked fucking terrifying. Like really well done. Like you're crawling through air ducts in this building that's all dark, and the only time you can really see is you have like a little camera with night vision, but it has a limited amount of battery life, so you only use it for quick glances, and then you're working your way through really dark areas, and then monster jumps out, grabs you, oh fuck, and those classic horror movie sequences. So that looked great. So first, he's wrong. Second of all, if you want to complain, he's complaining about the lack of originality as well, and if you want to do that, maybe you don't name your brand new series a synonym of your original series.
Yeah.
Okay. Resident Evil, a synonym for resident, or I should say an alternate meaning is that it is someone who resides somewhere is within something. So if evil is resident, if I have Resident Evil, that also means that I have evil within.
Right.
And that's the name of his fucking game, The Evil Within. Like, seriously, dude, you could what I honestly think is it's literally the exact same title and just the Japanese translation fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. I will say Resident Evil was originally Biohazard over there, and Biohazard in English, like not like the Japanese version. Like I bought them, the Japanese ones, and I looked it up, and it is not a Japanese word. It is the hiragana that's just phonetic. It is Biohazard. Like, seriously, I guess they don't even have a word for biohazard.
They have to. They really do.
I think it's Biohazard. Duh, yeah. But seriously, like your entire career is based on one game.
Yeah.
And you're going to start a new series, and it's just an
change the
alternate
words
translation
around.
of the same fucking title. I mean, maybe that'll work, but even just using the evil again, can we just move on? Find something. I mean,
where's your originality at?
I don't know why I'm bitching about this. I just for some reason that really stuck in my craw. I was just like, dude. So I need to stop.
You can't bitch about what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. I have nothing else. This seems like this was a short episode. It was extremely short. It's basically half of our normal running time.
Wow.
We got through it. And you know what? Let's just leave it at that, and we'll make some people happy.
Let's see if we can get a few more listeners by
keeping
it down,
minimizing it. Hey, maybe if there's less to listen to, you'll actually stick around. The less you have to put up with us.
Next time we'll do a 6-hour show, and then we'll compare the two.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know if I can handle that, dude.
No, I couldn't either.
I walk away from our hour-long shows, and I'm like,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, both of you that do, to the Breakfast Blend.
It's me and you.
Yeah, it's you and me when we check it to make sure the audio works. Those are our two views. All right, you've been listening to the Breakfast Blend with Mac and Morgan. I'm Mac.
I'm Morgan.
And we'll catch you next week. I forgot what the show was called.
Nice. And that's all right.